Welcome to another PanMesh tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate how to create a model with a finite fault. A fault is essentially a crack or break in the reservoir body which does not allow flow through it. So in order to do this, what we will do is we have, as always, I work with the basic pan system example model. And I'll open a well reservoir and fluid description, numerical model, and as usual I'll create a basic square reservoir region. Now we want to create a finite fault. We have the vertical wellbore at the center here. In order to create a finite fault, there are a number of different approaches, and the approach that you take will depend on the other characteristics or aspects of the reservoir. But if we want to create a simple finite fault, the two basic ways of doing it are as follows. Either we create a second region. Now, just to note that this line or any internal line can be converted to a fault or no flow boundary. To do this, we simply click on the select option, click on the internal line in question like this, and either double click or press return, and we get the internal no flow boundary dialog box. If I double click on this flow option here, it goes to no flow, and if I close, I will see a solid black line here which essentially depicts a no flow boundary. So let's look at what kind of a model we would get from this. Essentially, we can see from theory that the reservoir response will act as if this blue region here doesn't exist. So let's confirm that. We go to well configuration and just put some amount of completion in. We'd say make it half complete because the reservoir is 200 foot thick. Check the model is complete. It is. We'll go to simulation, numerical PanMesh new run, and here we can see the model with the no flow boundary. So let's run the simulation and see what happens. Okay, you can see that the pressure transient just doesn't get beyond the no flow boundary, which is what we would like and expect. So it just acts as if that section beyond the boundary doesn't exist. So let's now make it of finite length. So to do that, we have one of two choices. We can either cut the reservoir thus, creating a finite length or edge between nodes 11 and 12 here, and therefore we can go to this edge and make it a flow edge again, and that edge also, and now we have a fault of finite length here. And to see the effect of that a little bit better, we'll just move it in closer, and we can move it in closer by in move mode up here, move. We click on the edge, we can keep shift pressed and just move it in horizontally a little bit closer. So we can now run the simulation and see the effect of that finite fault. So we see it here. We run the simulation, and what we see here from experience, I can see that this bump here is the effect of the finite fault, and we'll see that a nice feature in PanMesh is if we look at the pressure transient as a radius of investigation, You'll see it here. Just at that dip here should be where it's touching the fault, or the pressure transient encounters the fault, and it comes up around the fault and then continues on into semi-steady state. So that is one way of creating a finite fault, and I will do another tutorial where I show how to create the finite fault in another manner. Thank you for your attention.